All right, so you're trying to crush those goals, but maybe feeling a little lost on where to even start.
Yeah, I've been there.
We've all been there, right?
Totally.
But that's why we're here today, to help you figure that out. We're going to do a deep dive into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, nice.
Specifically, we found this awesome YouTube video that breaks down all the key points.
Perfect for like when you're on the go.
Exactly. Like, think this is your little cheat sheet for understanding how habits work.
Yeah.
And then, like, the real juicy stuff, how to actually build those good habits.
And then get rid of the bad ones.
Yes, ditch the bad ones.
Yeah.
So are you ready to, like, unlock the power of tiny changes and see how they can make a massive impact?
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. Let's jump right in. I love how this video just simplifies everything.
Me too.
It really boils it down to how those small, like almost invisible tweaks to your routine
Right.
can actually snowball into something huge.
Yeah.
It's not about those like crazy overnight transformations you see in the movies or,
Yeah, not at all.
it's not realistic.
Totally. And that's what I love about this. It just feels so much more achievable.
Right. It feels like something you can actually do.
Yeah.
And I love the analogy they use in the video. They talk about this airplane flying from New York to LA.
Okay.
And if the pilot adjusts the course by just 3 degrees at takeoff, they end up in Tijuana.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Tiny shift, completely different destination.
Yeah, that's wild.
It really drives home that point about the power of like seemingly insignificant changes, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just like a nice story. The math actually backs it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So imagine if you could just improve something by 1% every single day.
Okay. Yeah.
Seems tiny, right?
Yeah.
But compound that over a year, you're looking at being nearly 38 times better.
Whoa.
That's insane, right?
Okay.
And then think about the opposite, like a 1% decline every day.
Oh, God.
You're headed for a crash landing.
Yeah. That's scary to think about.
It is, but it's also like a powerful reminder that those little things we do or don't, do they really add up?
They really do.
Yeah.
And speaking of like results and seeing progress, the video talks about this thing called the Valley of Disappointment.
Okay. What is that?
So it's that initial phase when you're putting in the effort,
Uh-huh.
but the results aren't showing yet.
Oh, yeah.
We've all been there, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I know I have so many times.
It's that point where most people give up.
It's so true.
You get discouraged because you're not seeing those instant results. You know what I mean?
Totally instant gratification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what this concept is trying to teach us is to remember persistence is key.
Okay.
Remember those tiny changes we were talking about?
Yeah.
They're working behind the scenes even if you can't see them right away.
Okay, so just keep going.
Exactly. Keep going. Think back to that plane analogy. You're slowly, steadily changing course.
Oh, I like that.
You're on the journey.
You're on the journey.
Even if you haven't landed yet.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in that valley. We're working towards it. We just got to keep going.
Yes.
But how do we stay the course when we're like stuck there? Right.
You know, it's so easy to lose motivation when you don't see those immediate results.
It is. It is.
That's where Atomic Habits shifts gears a little bit,
Okay.
and it focuses on systems rather than goals, right?
Yes, exactly. It challenges that conventional wisdom of like being fixated solely on the goal.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Goals are important. They give us a direction to head in. But
We're like, the what?
yeah, the what.
Okay.
But it's the systems, the daily habits that actually get us there.
The how.
Exactly. The how.
Okay.
So think about it. 2 people can have the exact same goal,
Okay.
but totally different outcomes based on their system, their approaches.
That's a really good point. It's like having a destination in mind, but not having a map or a plan to actually get there.
Exactly. You might end up taking a lot of detours and wrong turns.
And it's going to take you so much longer.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
going to be way more frustrating.
Right. And then you might just give up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I'm never going to get to LA.
Right.
I'm just going to stay in Kansas. Exactly. And goals can sometimes create this either-or scenario.
Okay.
You achieve it, you're a winner. You don't, you're a failure.
Oh, that's not a good mindset.
It's not motivating.
No.
Systems, on the other hand, are all about the process.
Oh, yeah.
The consistent progress that you're making each day,
I like that.
regardless of whether you've hit that big, shiny goal yet.
So it's like celebrating those little wins along the way.
Yes.
It's not just about the finish line.
yes.
It's about the journey itself.
Love that.
That actually reminds me of the whole idea of atomic habits, right? It's those small changes that accumulate over time.
Right.
They're like building a house brick by brick.
Yes. Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Each brick might seem insignificant on its own right,
Right.
but together they create this solid foundation.
A strong foundation.
And that's what atomic habits do. They lay the foundation for lasting change.
I love that. So, okay, we kind of understand this now. We get it.
Yeah.
But how do we actually, like, put this into practice?
Right.
Like, how do we actually change our habits?
Yeah, that's the big question.
The video mentions 3 layers of behavior change.
Okay.
Can you break those down for us?
Absolutely. So the first layer is like the one we're all familiar with, changing outcomes. You want to lose weight, land that promotion, write a book. It's all about the end result.
Like checking that box.
Yeah.
Got it.
But Atomic Habits argues that this isn't enough.
Oh, so there's more to it than just focusing on that end goal.
Yes, there is.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more about those other layers.
Okay, so the second layer is changing your process,
Okay.
the steps you take to reach that outcome.
Uh-huh.
So instead of just aiming to lose weight,
Okay.
you focus on making exercise a regular part of your day.
Okay.
You're changing the process.
Got it.
But the most impactful layer, the one that really gets to the core of who you are, is changing your identity.
Changing your identity.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got me really curious.
Yeah.
How does that play into habit formation?
Okay, so think of it this way. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, you start saying, I am a runner.
Oh.
It's a subtle shift in mindset,
Okay.
but it's a powerful one. When your desired habit becomes part of your identity,
Uh-huh.
your actions naturally align.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're not just going through the motions, you're embodying that change.
So it's about becoming the kind of person who does the things you want to do.
That's it.
Not just changing your actions.
No.
It's changing who you believe you are at your core.
You got it.
Okay, that's such a profound way to look at habit change.
Yours.
But I'm still wondering, how do these habits actually form?
Right.
Like, what's the science behind it?
Yeah.
The video mentioned something called the habit loop.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. So the habit loop is a 4-step process that explains how habits become automatic.
Okay.
It starts with a cue, a trigger that sets the whole thing in motion.
Okay.
It could be a time of day, a location, an emotion, even another habit.
So the cue is like the starting pistol,
Yeah.
the signal for the habit to begin.
Exactly.
What happens next?
So that cue triggers a craving, the desire or motivation to actually perform the habit.
Okay.
Now, this craving isn't always conscious.
Okay.
Often it's driven by the anticipation of a reward.
So it's not the reward itself that motivates us.
Yo.
It's the thought of it,
Yes.
the feeling we get just thinking about it.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, craving. What's the next step in this loop?
So the craving leads to the response,
Okay.
the actual habit itself. This could be anything. Checking social media, having that sugary snack, hitting the gym for that run.
Got it.
You name it.
And lastly, we have the reward,
Yes.
that satisfying feeling or outcome that makes the habit stick.
Exactly. And this is what reinforces the connection between the cue and the response,
Mm-hmm.
making it more likely that we'll repeat that behavior in the future.
Makes sense. So the more we repeat this loop,
Yes.
the stronger that habit becomes.
Exactly. It's like a path in the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer and more defined it becomes.
Oh, I like that. So if we want to build good habits, we need to make sure that loop is like working in our favor.
Yes.
This brings us to the 4 laws of behavior change, right?
Exactly.
This is like the roadmap, the step-by-step guide for making those changes stick.
It's about taking control of our behaviors and shaping our lives in the direction we want to go.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's start with law number 1.
All right, law number 1 is make it obvious.
Make it obvious.
So many of our habits are so deeply ingrained
Right.
that we don't even realize we're doing them.
Yeah, we're just on autopilot.
Exactly. So the first step is to become aware of them.
Okay.
Shine a light on those unconscious behaviors.
So how do we like bring those hidden habits to the surface?
So the video suggests using a habit scorecard.
Habit scorecard.
It's pretty simple. You track your daily activities from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
Okay.
And then you categorize each one as positive, negative, or neutral.
Okay.
This helps you identify patterns and see where those sneaky habits are hiding.
So you're like taking inventory of your day. Seeing what's actually going on.
Yes.
Rather than just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've identified the habits we want to change.
Yes.
How do we make them more obvious?
Okay, so one strategy is implementation intentions.
Implementation intention.
Instead of vague intentions like, I want to be more productive.
Yeah, we've all said that.
We all have.
Right.
You get super specific. I will work on that project for 1 hour every morning at 8 a.m. at my desk.
Okay.
Clear, defined, no room for interpretation.
You have a plan of attack.
You got it.
No more wishy-washy intentions.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for success.
Exactly.
The video also mentioned something called habit stacking.
Yes.
Can you explain that one?
So habit stacking is all about leveraging the power of existing habits.
Okay.
You link a new habit to one you already do automatically.
Okay.
So, for example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes.
Okay.
You're basically piggybacking on an existing routine to make the new one stick. That's brilliant. It's like you're creating a chain reaction of good habits.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about breaking bad habits?
Right.
Does make it obvious, still apply.
It does, but in reverse.
Okay.
So instead of making the cue obvious,
Yeah.
you want to make it invisible. So if you're constantly checking your phone,
Yeah, guilty.
put it in a drawer while you're working,
Oh.
can't resist those cookies, don't even bring them into the house.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. It's about removing those temptations, those triggers that set off the unwanted behavior.
So it's all about removing those obstacles
Yeah.
that might stand in your way.
Yes.
Making it so easy that you have no excuse not to do it.
Exactly. And this is where environment design comes in.
Okay.
We are incredibly influenced by our surroundings.
Yeah, that's true.
If your environment is filled with cues for bad habits, it's going to be so much harder to resist.
That makes sense. This reminds me of something the video touches upon. Context is the cue.
It's not just about the objects themselves, but our relationship to them.
Right.
Like if you always work on the couch, you might start associating it with relaxation
Oh, yeah.
instead of productivity,
Right.
making it harder to focus.
Totally.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So it highlights the importance of being mindful of how we use our space.
Yeah.
If you want to make it easier to stick to good habits, design your environment to support them. Create clear boundaries and designated areas for different activities.
So to sum up law number 1,
Okay.
to build good habits,
Yeah.
make the cues obvious and accessible.
Yes.
To break bad ones, make them invisible and remove those temptations.
Love it.
Simple but powerful, right?
It is. It's all about understanding those cues and manipulating them to our advantage.
Okay, let's move on to law number 2.
Okay.
Make it attractive.
Make it attractive.
Now, this one sounds more fun, don't you think?
I think so.
Tell us about the role of dopamine in habit formation.
Okay. So our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Yeah.
It's basic human nature.
Makes sense.
And dopamine is the star of the show when it comes to pleasure and reward.
Oh.
So when we do something pleasurable, our brain releases dopamine. And that makes us want to repeat that behavior.
So if we want to make a habit stick,
Yes.
we need to make it enjoyable, right?
Exactly.
No one wants to force themselves to do things they hate day after day.
No way. It's not sustainable.
So how do we make those good habits, especially the ones that might not be inherently fun,
Right.
like exercise or eating healthy,
Yeah.
more appealing?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And Atomic Habits has some great answers.
Yep.
But before we dive into those, there's one key thing to understand about dopamine.
Okay.
It's released not just when we experience a reward, but also when we anticipate it.
Wait, so even the thought of the reward is rewarding?
Yes.
That's fascinating. It's like how kids get so excited on Christmas Eve,
Right.
even before they've opened any presents.
Exactly.
It's the anticipation, the buildup that adds to the excitement.
Yes, and that's such a powerful insight because it means we can hack our dopamine system
Okay.
to make even those less than thrilling habits more appealing.
Okay, I'm listening.
One way to do that is through temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's basically pairing an activity that you want to do with one that you need to do.
Okay.
So the video uses the example of only allowing yourself to watch your favorite TV show while you're working out.
Okay.
So you're essentially bribing yourself with something pleasurable
Yeah.
to do something you might not naturally enjoy.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like tricking your brain into thinking exercise is fun
Exactly.
because it's associated with something you actually enjoy.
Yes.
I need to try that.
You should. It's surprisingly effective.
But what about those habits that are just inherently unpleasant?
Right.
Like, is there a way to make those more appealing?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It feels like we're running out of time for this segment. Let's pick this up in part 2 of the show, shall we?
Sounds good. We'll delve deeper into those tougher habits and the remaining laws of behavior change.
Awesome. Can't wait.
See you soon. Welcome back.
Okay, so we left off talking about temptation bundling.
Right.
And like how to make even those less than thrilling habits
Yeah.
a little more enjoyable. But what about those habits that are just plain tough no matter how you slice it?
Right. So the video talks about this technique called reprogramming your brain.
Reprogramming your brain.
Okay. And it's all about shifting your mindset. Instead of focusing on the downsides of a habit,
Okay.
you zero in on the benefits.
Okay, so like instead of dreading that workout, you visualize that like burst of energy and sense of accomplishment you feel afterwards.
Exactly.
So you're reframing those negative associations.
Yes.
Instead of thinking, ugh, I have to go to the gym.
Right.
Here's like, I get to invest in my health and feel amazing.
Love it.
It's a subtle shift, but it can make a big difference, right?
Huge difference.
Yeah.
It's about finding that intrinsic motivation, that internal drive that makes you want to do the habit.
Yeah.
Not because you have to, but because you genuinely want to.
I love that. It's about making it a choice, not a chore.
Exactly.
The video also highlighted the power of social influence on habit formation.
Yes.
It's something we often underestimate, don't we?
Totally. We're social creatures by nature.
We are.
We're influenced by the people around us, whether we realize it or not. So
Yeah.
if you surround yourself with people who support your habits, it becomes so much easier to stick to them.
Okay, so if you want to eat healthier, hang out with people who prioritize healthy eating.
Exactly.
If you want to read more, join a book club.
Yes.
It's about finding your tribe, those people who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self.
Love that. It's about creating an environment that nurtures those good habits.
Yes.
You're more likely to stick to something when it's aligned with the values and norms of your social circle.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
That's so true.
Choose your company wisely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to law number 3.
Okay.
Make it easy.
Make it easy.
This one seems particularly relevant for those of us who are always on the go,
Yeah.
juggling a million things at once.
Absolutely. It's all about streamlining those habits,
Okay.
removing any friction that might prevent us from doing them.
Okay.
So the video actually debunks that age-old myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
We've all heard that.
Yeah.
But it's not about the time. It's about repetition.
So it's not about waiting for some magical number of days to pass.
No.
It's about doing the habit consistently day after day until it becomes second nature.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But how do we make it easier to stick to those repetitions, especially like in the beginning
Right.
when motivation might be low?
Right. So this is where the law of least effort comes in.
Law of least effort.
Yeah, our brains are wired to conserve energy. We naturally gravitate towards things that are easy and effortless.
Okay, that makes sense.
So to build good habits, we need to make them as frictionless as possible.
So how do we reduce that friction?
Okay, so one strategy is priming your environment.
Okay.
It's about setting yourself up for success.
Okay.
Lay out your workout clothes the night before.
Okay.
Prep your healthy ingredients so they're ready to go.
Okay.
Put that book you want to read on your bedside table.
It's all about removing those obstacles that might stand in your way,
Exactly.
making it so easy that you literally have no excuse not to do it.
Love it. And then there's the 2-minute rule.
2-minute rule.
This one's a game changer.
Okay, I need this one.
Especially for procrastinators.
Oh, yes. Tell me more.
Okay, it's ridiculously simple.
Okay.
You break down the habit into a 2-minute version.
Yeah.
You want to start running.
Yeah.
Just focus on putting on your running shoes. You want to write a book.
Yeah.
Commit to writing just one sentence.
I love how approachable that is.
That is right.
It's about making it so easy that you can't say no.
Exactly. And once you've started, it's often easier to just keep going.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yes.
So the 2-minute rule is
Yeah.
all about taking that first step,
Yeah.
building that momentum, and celebrating those small wins.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to law number 4. Make it satisfying.
Okay.
This one seems crucial.
It is.
We all want to feel good about the things we do.
Right. Absolutely.
It's hard to stick to something if it doesn't bring us some sense of satisfaction.
Right. And satisfaction is the key to making those habits stick. So when we experience pleasure or a sense of reward, our brain releases those feel-good chemicals.
Okay.
And that reinforces the habit loop, making us want to do it again and again.
So we need to associate those good habits with positive feelings.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. A lot of good habits,
Uh-huh.
like saving money or eating healthy, have delayed rewards.
Yeah.
We might not see the benefits for weeks, months, even years.
Right. Yeah.
But meanwhile, those bad habits often give us that instant gratification.
Totally. It's a tough battle.
It is. So how do we bridge that gap?
Right.
How do we
Right.
make those good habits the ones with the delayed rewards.
Yeah.
More satisfying in the moment.
So one strategy is to add a little immediate pleasure to those good habits.
Okay.
Listen to your favorite music while you work out.
Okay.
Treat yourself to a delicious, healthy smoothie after a productive study session.
Okay.
You're basically creating a positive association, making the habit itself more enjoyable.
Okay. I like that. So you're finding ways to make those good habits feel good, even if the ultimate payoff comes later.
Exactly.
The video also talks about the importance of tracking our progress.
Yes.
It's something I've always struggled with.
Oh, really?
I get so caught up in the day-to-day that I forget to, acknowledge how far I've come.
Yeah, but tracking our progress is incredibly motivating.
Okay.
It gives us that visual representation of our accomplishments, a tangible reminder of how far we've come.
Okay.
It's like watching those experience points go up in a video game.
Yeah.
That keeps you engaged and wanting to level up.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
So the video mentioned using visual measures like habit trackers, or even something as simple as moving marbles from one jar to another.
Yeah.
It's amazing how powerful those visual cues can be.
They are. For some people, crossing off days on a calendar when they complete their habit works wonders.
Uh-huh.
Others might prefer using an app with graphs and charts to track their progress.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about finding what works for you, what keeps you motivated and engaged.
But let's be real.
Okay.
We're all human.
We are.
We're going to slip up sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
We'll miss a workout, indulge in that extra slice of cake, or skip that meditation session. It's inevitable.
Yeah, it happens.
So how do we handle those setbacks without throwing in the towel completely?
So the video emphasizes the importance of showing up even on those days when we don't feel like it.
Okay.
It's about consistency over perfection.
Okay, so it's better to do a scaled-down version of the habit
Yes.
than to skip it altogether. Even if you only do a 10-minute workout instead of your usual hour,
Right.
or you only manage to save a few dollars instead of your target amount,
Yeah.
it's still a win.
It is. It's about maintaining that momentum.
Okay.
Keeping that habit loop going, even if it's at a slower pace.
And this is where accountability comes in, right? Having someone to check in with, to share your progress with, can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. It's like having a cheerleader in your corner, reminding you why you started encouraging you to keep going.
Yeah. The video even mentions something called a habit contract,
Yes.
which is a formal agreement you make with yourself,
Yeah.
and ideally with an accountability partner,
Right.
to stick to your habit.
Yes.
It outlines the specific actions you'll take, the consequences for not following through, even rewards for success.
Totally.
Wow, that sounds serious.
It is, but it adds another layer of commitment and accountability.
Yeah, it's like signing a contract with yourself,
Yes.
making it official, and putting some skin in the game.
Exactly. And by involving an accountability partner, you're leveraging that power of social pressure to stay on track.
Okay, I think this is a good place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered so much ground, from mindset shifts to social influence to the power of accountability.
Yeah, we have.
Let's pick this up again in part 3, where we'll wrap things up and tie it all together.
Sounds good. We'll delve into some real-life examples and distill those final takeaways that will help you put these principles into action.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into atomic habits. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling super inspired
Yeah, me too.
to take action.
Right.
And actually, implement these strategies.
Yeah, and that's the best part. You don't have to, completely overhaul your entire life to make these changes.
It's all about those small, consistent actions that add up over time.
Totally.
Speaking of action, the video walks through a real-life example of how to actually put these concepts into practice.
Oh.
So the video creator shows how they built their own system for working out and reading regularly while also cutting back on social media.
Nice.
It's so cool to see these principles in action.
Yeah, and they use a bunch of the techniques we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Implementation intentions, designing their environment, temptation, bundling the 2-minute rule, habit tracking. They even had an accountability partner.
It's like the whole shebang.
It is. It's amazing. It just shows you can create a personalized system by combining all these different strategies.
Yeah. I love that they're not just preaching these concepts. They're actually living them.
Exactly.
It makes it feel so much more attainable.
Totally. And it really just reinforces that idea that building good habits and breaking bad ones, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about showing up consistently and making those small improvements over time.
And trusting the process even when you don't see those immediate results.
Yes.
Remember the valley of disappointment?
Yeah.
It's all part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. So as we wrap up our deep dive,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways you think our listeners should walk away with?
That's a good question.
What are some nuggets of wisdom they can apply to their own lives?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that even tiny changes in our daily routines can have a massive impact
Yes.
on our lives over the long haul.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the power of those 1% improvements and letting them compound over time.
Absolutely. It's not about those like dramatic overnight transformations.
Right.
It's about consistency, about showing up day after day and making those small incremental changes.
It's like that saying, Rome wasn't built in a day.
I love it.
And remember, those tiny changes are working even if you can't see them right away.
Yes.
Just like that airplane changing course by a few degrees, you're slowly but surely heading towards your destination.
Another really crucial point is the power of focusing on systems rather than just goals.
Right.
Goals give us direction, but it's the systems, the daily habits that actually get us there.
It's like having a map, but no vehicle to drive on the road.
Exactly.
You need both to reach your destination.
You do. And don't forget about the habit loop.
Yes, the habit loop.
Once you understand those cues, cravings, responses, and rewards that are driving your behaviors, you can start to hack that loop and make it work for you.
Right. And those 4 laws of behavior change make it obvious.
Yeah.
Make it attractive. Make it easy. Make
Yeah.
it satisfying.
Yes.
Are like our cheat codes for hacking that loop
Yeah.
and building better habits.
Love it. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
The beauty of this framework is that you can customize it
Yeah.
to your own needs and preferences. Experiment with different strategies.
Yeah.
Find what works for you.
Yeah.
And create a system that supports your unique goals and lifestyle.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for support.
Yes.
Find an accountability partner, join a community, or even seek guidance from a coach or a mentor.
Yeah.
Having that support system can make all the difference.
Absolutely. It's all about setting yourself up for success. So to our listener out there, we encourage you to reflect on your own habits.
Yeah.
What's one small change you can make today that will set you on a path to becoming the person you want to be?
It doesn't have to be anything drastic.
No.
Start small.
Yeah.
Be consistent and trust the process.
Yes.
And remember, even those tiny steps forward
Yeah.
are still progress.
Absolutely. As James Clear says, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations.
So true.
Yeah.
So on that note,
Yeah.
we'll leave you to ponder your own atomic habits.
Yes.
What small steps will you take today to shape your future?
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.